So Nintendo put out these extremely stringent community guidelines, and it's just very unfortunate. Historically, Nintendo has done all kinds of things like trying to shut down Melee at EVO, and this coming out, a few weeks ago and effective November 15th, 2023, really seemed like lightning striking from above. And I've listened to all kinds of feedback, and as someone that has hosted incredibly big tournaments, over a dozen regionals with over 100 entrants, and been like one of the main members of the team that put on an 800 attendee major, Clutch City Clash 1 and 2. I wanted to give my input. Wanted to talk about what it means for the community, what the nitty-gritty is, okay? So, I'll link this in the description. These are the community tournament guidelines put out directly by Nintendo, and just right off the bat, some of the main things to look out for is that tournaments may include up to 200 participants in person or up to 300 online. So the very notable thing about this is that these are tournaments without licenses. So Nintendo is putting out these guidelines and restrictions to kind of cover their bases, like to basically handpick who they work with and who they give licenses to allow for large tournaments. And there was a good video from a lawyer in the community called Moony. I'll also be linking that in the description. He put out a good 17-minute video of his perspective and what this means for the community, and it honestly would sum up a lot of my feelings as well, especially after hearing his informed opinion. But I do have a few takes that I would say add to the lawyer's opinion as well. So there's certain rules like that. There's certain rules like no sponsors being allowed for community tournaments. It's pretty harsh, man. It's pretty harsh. Nintendo games may not be used for community tournaments that have sponsors or promote any entity. There's been like Domino's sponsored tournaments. There's been tournaments sponsored. I mean, there's Coinbox every single week that is sponsored by Coinbase, and there's been a lot of banter in the community about like, oh, do we want to be sponsored by crypto and all this? The reasoning has been, hey, it's more money in the community, so it's like overall a good thing. And thankfully, Nintendo isn't striking down on that or anything. They're just kind of letting it exist. So what I would say a lot of this is, despite how long it is and everything and how stringent the guidelines are, this is really just for Nintendo to cover their own ass, basically. This is really for them to say, hey, we didn't allow for that, in case any fuck shit happens, which, for anyone unaware, has unfortunately been a thing. Unfortunately. In the past. So yeah, it's like partially the Smash community having so many controversies, and partially Nintendo coming from a very old like culture and an old like mindset. That's what all has led to these kind of rules. But what I would say, since like there's all kinds of things like restricting like how much you can charge for people to enter the tournament, what I would say for any local or regional tournament organizers, just do it anyway. But operate in a way that is very ethical. Don't use mods. Don't use anything that, like, would give Nintendo ammunition against your tournament. But do what you want to do anyway. And the thing that will suck about this is that it will be harder for those tournament organizers to get sponsorships. Anyone that knows about these things, any sponsor will be more hesitant. And back in the day, we had a sponsorship from the area of the Woodlands. They sponsored our tournament partially because there are budgets in local governments to sponsor things like films or events that bring interest into their community and travel and such, and they make their money back on taxes and whatnot, you know? So there are budgets for spicing up their community. So I'm saying sponsors like that are going to be more hesitant as a result of things like this. So that part does suck, but overall, just do what you were going to do anyway, but do it carefully, is what I would say. Like, I'm looking to host a regional, and I'll probably put a written 199 entrant cap, because of this. Just to stay on the safe side, right? So, while people's knee-jerk reaction may be like, what? Like, they're limiting how much an organizer can make in a year to 10,000, they're not going to see your taxes. They're not, as long as you don't gloat about it or whatever, like, Nintendo will actually, you know, usually let things slide. It's all about perception to them. It's all about perception, and really, as long as you're moving ethically and you don't, like, use mods or anything that gives them ammunition to strike down on you, then Nintendo would look bad if they did strike down on you, okay? So that's really the takeaway from this. Again, here on YouTube, I'm going to link this and Moony, a lawyer in the community. I'll link his video down below. I think he gave some very great insight on this, and I hope you guys appreciated my insight. Any tournament organizers that may stumble across this video, I hope it was helpful. And yeah, that's about it as far as everything goes surrounding this. So hope you guys appreciated the coverage.